About dialogue, just a matter of carefully listening to the way that people speak, and particularly the things that they don't say. And a lot of the dialogue is based on that, the things that people wished they didn't think or feel they can't say. About the choice of the music in the front, Jerusalem, of course, without the words used, without the lyrics, it absolutely is a political statement, as is, I guess, everything else in the film, in the sense that it's a political comedy. But it's a light and loving one, I would say, a light and loving look at the state of England, a kind of broken England.
Thank you. There's one on the far right.
Hi, Niels Harpert, University Radio of Copenhagen. When in the process was a decision made to make the film in black and white?
Fairly early. I think that I felt black and white gives this incredible space for emotional colour, because we're not distracted by apparent realism. So it opens up other spaces in the brain, and also many of my favourite films ever made were in black and white. So it's nice to feel that it's part of that lineage. And somehow the magic of the fact that the brain can see things in a different way, but in an absolutely real way, in the abstract world of light and dark. And as the story was about extremes, I could go on, but simply, quite early on, was the choice made, yes.
Thank you. There's one on the left.
Hi, Sari here. It's a wonderful, wonderful film. I would like you to tell a few words about your work with your cinematographer, and if you could tell us something about your process of working with the actors, please.
Okay, well, the cinematographer, who sadly is not here, but it's the wonderful Russian cinematographer Alexei Rodionov, who I had the great pleasure to work with for the first time many years ago on Orlando. And he brings to a way of shooting a very, very deeply script and character-oriented way of shooting. So it's never an aesthetic for its own sake. It's just a very deep form of looking and listening, within the Russian tradition also of lighting for the face to bring out the dramatic qualities of the scene. About the way of working with actors, well, first of all, choosing such amazing people, taking time to choose them, and then building a relationship with them, and then basically loving and respecting what they do, and attempting at every moment to see the genius in the person and tease it out if they're willing to go in the direction that I would like to go, and also respecting the direction they want to go. So essentially, it's just the magic of collaboration, and these are all wonderfully collaborative, intelligent, generous actors that it was simply a joy to work with. Okay, the old Russian tradition, what I meant was, first of all, when I first worked with Alexei on Orlando, I discovered that he was used to making things happen with a piece of string, a rubber band, and very good eyesight. It wasn't about having huge technological advantage. It was having amazing imagination and the ability to do a lot with a little. But also the Russian tradition of lighting was about taking enormous care, sculpting with light, closer perhaps to some of the portrait lighting of the 30s and 40s in Hollywood. But that Russian tradition had carried straight on until perestroika, when everything changed. So it's a mixture of a cinematographer who's very script aware, always thinking not about a glamorous image, but about the totality of the meaning of the scene and where to place the camera and how to look from that point of view. I did start writing this during the just before the last general election in the UK, at a point where it seemed that the left in the UK was very much losing its ability to be sincerely brave about its policies and was trying to disguise itself as something very centrist. Left and right were almost indistinguishable at that point in the UK. Now that's changed. Things have polarized since I first started writing. But what was central to it was the feeling that people were losing in political life, losing the ability to even know what the truth was. That's why truth-telling is so central to the politics of in this story. All kinds of truth-telling in personal life and in political life. So that was what drove it. I have to say, Brexit happened during our 2-week shoot. Half the crew and cast turned up weeping that morning as we found out the result. And the feeling that the film was, I gradually realized, was something I'd written as events were unfolding, but with a slightly prescient sense of what can go so very, very wrong when people lose touch with their principles and with the ability to speak the truth. And the need also to have the healing power of laughter about things that are horrific or tragic. So it's sort of skating on those two lines. And of course, there's many, many ways that you can define politics. And party politics, parliamentary politics, as some of the characters mention, is only one way. There's also the politics of relationships between men and women, between women and women, between parent and child, and so on. Many, many ways. So it's more like a meditation on the notion that politics is everywhere, and that the way forward is one of truth-telling and sort of respect, but watch out if you've got a gun in the laundry basket.